Let's make your job easy.
It loomed as a massive danger game inside the Lions' den, but with top two on the line, West Coast rose to the challenge to cap off a brilliant home and away season by locking in a qualifying final showdown against the Pies in a fortnight at Optus Stadium. Welcome to a very special edition of Eagle Review here at the Kennards Hire store in Balcatta. Strong supporters of the review, Benny.
Great to be here at the home of the Eagle Review.
Tell me about it, and it's great to have your company on such a massive win. It really was a tense opening quarter, must be said. The Lions, as expected, came to play, shot out of the gate, but that was all put in the rear vision mirror as West Coast managed to break away for a 26-point victory.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people a little bit nervous heading into the clash, and I think a lot of people were worried about the consequences, not exactly about potentially who we were playing. They're certainly not easy beats anymore, the Lions, but they had only won 5 games for the year. We'd won 15 at that stage, so I think people heading in a bit nervous about what would happen if we didn't win, but the boys clinically got the job done and probably set things up with the second quarter. Can I run through some numbers, Stephen?
Please do.
Even though the inside 50s were pretty even, 14-12, which shocked me actually looking back on it afterwards because the dominance was quite evident. The efficiency inside forward 50 was the big difference. Now, let me give you some numbers on that. We got 4 marks inside 50 and went 50% kicking 4-3. 50% of the time we went in, we scored 4 goals, 3. Brisbane 1 mark inside 50 for the quarter, no goals. 0 goals, 2 in fact. And I think no goals in a quarter of football really breaks the spirit when the other team goes in and scores easily. And I think from there, they just held firm and not coasted out to the victory, but went out and rode it out to the line.
The boys did a great job at the source. Shuey and Redden unstoppable. 56 disposals, 9 inside 50s and 18 clearances between the two of them. The forward line was just clicking. Jamie Cripps, another sensational game. His forward half in particular, but he had 23 touches, 8 marks, 3 goals, but 6 inside 50. So he was giving his other forwards some supply. Venables looked dangerous, couple of goals there as well. Rioli, Ryan, they looked dangerous at every opportunity, and Jack Darling was clunking everything. Good to have him back, the big fella.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I think what the great thing is, in the past, people have said, oh, the Eagles are reasonably predictable heading inside 50 with JK there and then Jack, of course. But now, with Josh being out, there's so many different avenues. Even when the ball hits the deck, you've got Rioli and Ryan there. Cripper's running is so amazing to watch, and he just burns guys off and gets on the end of it a lot, all through hard work. And I thought Darling was good. You know, he returned to the form from earlier in the year in some degrees, not quite there yet, but hopefully that's a stepping stone in that direction. And I thought Oscar Allen was really good as well.
Yeah, especially that he didn't play that role in his debut early in the season, so swung back and then swung forward in that need as well.
Probably why he came into the team, because he can play forward certainly and play the role that Josh would, but he also gives them the versatility to be able to be thrown back and a reliable option down back at that too. So he has some versatility, and I think that's certainly worked in his favour, and a big tick in game 2.
Yeah, did well in wet conditions as well, very slippery, especially in that first half. What about this though? The first time in AFL history that 2 Oscars have played in the same game. Oh, that's just going to blow the statistician's mind. Let's get on to Mark Hutchings. Shut down another important midfielder in the AFL, Dane Zorko, very limited in his influence on the day, and just wrapping him up at every opportunity.
Absolutely, and so much so, like at halftime, I didn't even really notice Zorko, apart from things off the ball, when there was a bit of a niggle, getting a little bit frustrated, I think, with the finish line of the season in sight. And, you know, that happens sometimes. Geez, it'd be tough being tagged every week.
Yeah.
But Hutchie did another great job. Held him just at the 16 touches, I think, but also kicked that. What about that goal from Hutchie?
Is that his best goal in Eagles colours, you reckon?
That's the best goal he's kicked, I would have thought. Oh, well, what about Mark Clutch? He likes things at the Gabba. What about with the candy shop a couple of years ago?
The Mark Clutchings?
The sealer.
Yeah,
yep.
and he wasn't able to hug someone in the crowd either.
No, he did like a bit of crowd work when he kicked that one in the Derby a couple of years ago.
Correct.
But no, certainly one of his best, and another great job from Hutchie, and he's in form too as a tagger, very much so heading into September.
The Eagles could have some debates in the back half whether they're going to play the 3 tall defenders against the Pies, but Will Schofield came in from the hamstring injury. What about a couple of these efforts? The blind spoil going back with the flight. I think he had no idea where the ball was. Got a bit lucky there, Will.
Absolutely, but what about this tackle? Louis Taylor heading in toward goal, probably saved a single. Did not fall for the candy shop, but one iota and drammed him into the ground. I like it.
Bit of a size mismatch there as well. Jeremy McGovern, tip of the cap, 100 games for the All-Australian.
Nice pair of boots. Did you see those?
No, what happened?
X-Blades, sent him some little plug there for X-Blades. Sent him some special boots with Gov 100 written on them.
Oh, my goodness.
Very much ahead of himself, the 2-time All-Australian.
Tell me about it. It took a while to get there, obviously the fat camp earlier in his career, but he broke a record on the weekend, Benny.
77 marks intercept style for the year, which is a world record in AFL terms. 3 of the top 4 scores are all Jay McGovern. He's 1, 3 and 4. Easton Wood, a couple of years ago, had 76 intercept marks. But he's a tremendous player, as we know. We've signed him long-term, you beauty, and many, many more, hopefully into some marking records to come.
Excellent form. So we've also got some Kennards roasts of the rounds. Before we get onto them, make sure to get on the Kennards Hire Facebook page. Check them out. You get some details on how to win a couple of tickets to a fortnight's time, the qualifying final against Collingwood. They are going to be some hot property items, so get on the Kennards Hire Facebook page immediately. Let's have a look at some mares across the weekend, though, especially from our game. What about Shuey, copying the old Falcon here from Daniel Rich? He recovered in time, don't worry about him. McStay, one of the marks of the day for the Lions, but he followed it up. Handball into the teammate who's not even watching. What were you thinking?
Errors, goal umpire getting in the way. This can't be missed. Was that going to hit the post? No, it wasn't going to hit the post. But what if that happens in a granny and it's line ball? I'm worried about that, Stephen. Positioning very important, and he's got to lift there. What about this kick from Cutler? Turks and talk about lifting required. That is one of the worst of all time. A lot of work needs to go in the off-season on that kicking, Mr. Cutler.
That's no good. What about Nathan Vardy? This inside 50 entry, you'd want to forget this. This is before his head knock. So
we can't. We're going to roast him for the head knock.
No, but we can't blame that. I don't know where his mind is there. No good. But he's also come up for this massive launch. This is after the head knock, so maybe just thinking he was Jezelenko for a little bit. Didn't quite work. Now, Tom Barras, you haven't kicked a goal in a lot of games. You're 55 out. The game is almost wrapped up. I think you've got to have a ping here. Top of the square discipline, but roast Tommy. We want to see some goals.
Yeah, we want to see a barrel, if anything. That'd be great post height. This little thing from Christensen took me back to Eric McKenzie a couple of years ago and switching the behind, but switching this one and it going out of bounds, that cannot be left unsaid. And Shuey falling for this one here, going to whack you in the guts, the old shadow punch. And bracing for contact, looking like a goose.
Lecker, I don't care how far you're out, 1 foot, 1 metre, that's a miss and that's an absolute roast.
On that subject, Jack Darling kicked 4 in the end, but should have kicked 5 at least. And have a look at this effort. That's a shocker, and that needs to be eradicated before next Thursday.
He poked at that one. Tommy Cole, a little bit more work around the clearances here. Good tap from Lycett, straight in the scone, no good.
Couple of digital roasts. We are on and off the field, and in this digital age, nothing gets by our people. Have a look at this effort from the AFL.com.au, boys.
How many they got out of 4 there, Benny?
They got none from 4. You'd think after the deliberation and the changes made on the fixture, I mean, we're not even playing that mob, nor any of the other teams. That is an absolute disgrace.
It's not a good effort. Don't forget about the AFL website. They've got Tony Orlango's profile up there. What about this little thing? The Dockers see plenty of upside in him. Who cares what the Dockers are thinking? Why don't you stick to your side of the fence there, Freo?
Of all teams you want to ask about what they think about the future, you wouldn't want to ask Freo, let me tell you that much for free. But the winner, Stephen.
Yeah, this is a great one, and you can't miss this one. Commentators that are just throwing a few lines out and hoping their facts stick. Alistair Lynch, how are you going with this one?
And from memory, Schofield missed their last grand final with a knee, I think, ACL.
Can unequivocally say that Will Schofield played in the 2015 grand final, and I guarantee you he could tell you he played in that game too.
Correct. Eric McKenzie didn't play.
Eric McKenzie didn't play, missed it with a knee. That might be who you're thinking of. Let them make stuff up.
Yeah, correct. Hey, thanks for watching. Get on the Kennards Hire Facebook page. A couple of tickets up for grabs. We'll see you next time.